Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to first understand the debate between multilateral trading system and regional trade. Second, know about the advantages and disadvantages of regional integration. Third, know about regional integration agreements of India with other countries in the world. Introduction. Regional Trade Agreement (RTA) is a preferential economic arrangement within a group of countries wherein the members of an RTA reduce or eliminate the tariff levels amongst themselves. However, separate set of rules is laid for non-members. The important question concerning the regional trade agreements is, do RTAs impede or facilitate the multilateral trading system driven by the principle of trade non-discrimination? Multilateralism versus regionalism. RTAs can complement the multilateral trading system, help to build and strengthen it. However, RTAs pose different challenges to multilateral trade by discriminating against non-members. They are a deviation from the most favored nation (MFN) principle. The impact of RTAs on global trade liberalization and economic growth are not clear, given that the economic and welfare impact of RTAs is largely ambiguous. Although RTAs are signed to benefit the member countries, the possible benefits expected can be reduced if there are distortions in resource allocation and if trade diversion effects are not minimized or eliminated. In other words, net effect of trade creation and trade diversion determines the welfare impact of an RTA. Further, an RTA's net economic impact will depend on its structure and the choice of various integration parameters vis-a-vis the depth of trade liberalization and sectoral coverage. MFN trade liberalization by the members of RTA members, either unilaterally or in a multilateral trade framework, can play an important role in limiting the potential distortions associated with RTAs. RTA framework tends to develop its own miniature trade regime, and thereby there exist varying trade rules for different RTA partners of a single country. This can have adverse impact on the trade flows through introduction of cost for traders associated with meeting multiple sets of trade rules. The spread of regional trade agreement raises the problems of inconsistencies in the rules and procedures among RTAs themselves and also between RTAs and the multilateral framework. This can give rise to regulatory complexities and implementation issues, specifically in case of overlapping RTAs. Therefore, there is a need to modify the rules (GATT) so that regionalism complements multilateralism and does not interfere with the phenomena of multilateralism. Therefore, regionalism not only has the potential to complement and supplement the free global trade, it can accelerate the multilateral process. The threat of unilateral and regional deals will produce multilateral agreements that may otherwise be held up. In this direction, Committee on Regional Trade Agreements (CRTA) was established by the WTO General Council in 1996. The major principle of this committee is to consider possible implications of the regional trade agreements for the multilateral trade system of WTO and thereby evaluate linkages between the two. In addition to this, the CRTA regulates the reporting process for the operation of the RTAs and formulates various procedures to assess the examination formalities of the agreements. Next is advantages of RTAs. First, regional integration allows a member country preferred access to the markets of other members of the regional agreement. This results in increased trade in the region and improvement in the economies of the members and hence greater income levels for them. This results in growth and income convergence among the members of an RTA. This can be explained by the fact that due to enhanced market access opportunities, a regional economic group has the potential to bridge the gap in economic growth and income levels between the poorer and richer members of an RTA. In a section of literature, it is suggested that FTA between rich and poor countries results in the convergence of the income levels, whereas the FTA between the poorer countries results in the divergence. Second, RTA framework results in higher welfare impacts if trade creation effects outweigh the trade diversion effects as more trade is generated at lesser cost, a concept explained by Weiner. Krugman argues that trade diversion from FTAs is low because trading blocks are natural trading areas and therefore the trade is not diverted to the high cost trading partners. Third, due to similarity in the trading partners in terms of cultures, standard of living or maybe languages, RTAs encourage trade among those countries that would have occurred even in the absence of an agreement. Fourth, regional trade agreements promote intra-industry trade that refers to the exchange of goods belonging to the same industry. In other words, it means that a particular good is exported as well as imported by a country. This concept remained unexplained by the standard trade theories of Ricardo and Hexler-Olin model, based on the comparative advantage and factor endowment concepts, respectively. According to these theories, the world economy should witness inter-industry trade rather than intra-industry trade. However, the new trade theory introduced by Krugman provided an explanation for existence of intra-industry given by the concept of love for variety, wherein consumers and the trading partners are interested in various varieties of the same type of product sourced from the other country. Contrary to the concept of inter-industry trade, the intra-industry trade is driven by similarity in the trading partners which are expected to be present in regional trade agreements. This can be explained by the similarity in consumer taste and preferences and income levels of the member countries. The main determinants of intra-industry trade include increasing returns to scale or the economies of scale, product differentiation, and imperfect competition. Economies of scale. This means reduction in the average cost of production with an increase in the production. In an RTA, economies of scale are exploited through lower tariff levels and non-tariff barriers among the member countries, resulting in greater market access. Product differentiation. This refers to distinguishing a product from other sellers in the market to make the goods attractive for the consumers. In an RTA, there is product differentiation due to differences in technology and other production techniques used by the member countries of the agreement. Imperfect market. Intra-industry trade is a deviation from the perfect competition theory explained by traditional trade theories. Next, the strengthening of integration in a region results in enhanced bargaining power of the region in the global economy, leading to economic benefits on several fronts. Next, increased competition between members as a result of a regional trade integration assists them to reach their potential level of trade, thereby climbing up the economic trajectory. Next, the regional economic integration has the potential for technology transfer among the member countries. The process of technology spillover is driven by the geographical proximity of the countries entering into a regional agreement. There are various reasons for geographical proximity playing an important role in technology transfer. Similar climatic conditions make technology appropriate for adaptation in a particular geographic region. For instance, an agriculture technology appropriate for a particular crop in one country could be suitable for the same crop in the other member of the regional trade agreement that is closely located to the country of the technology origin because of similar soil and weather conditions. Technology transfers among the members of a regional trade agreement helps a member country in acquiring important intermediate products and capital equipments through imports, thereby enhancing the production activities in the home economy. In addition to this, intra-regional linkages help in information exchange through transfer of ideas of production methods, design of products and information about market conditions, thereby helping to boost the production. Next, elimination of trade barriers within the region would encourage the efficient firms to expand their business activities in all countries within the region. Next, healthy competition within the region would help the less efficient firms in acquiring competencies in order to challenge the efficient firms. Next, the overall business performance in terms of productivity, quality, price, delivery and customer service will improve. Next, consumers get better quality goods and services at competitive price, which can be explained by the concept of product differentiation and intra-industry trade explained above. Next, employment opportunities in the region increase. Next, economic integration paves way for peacemaking between the member countries. This can be explained by the fact that with the existence of regional trade agreement between the countries, political conflicts become more costly for the member countries as their trade gains would be affected. This reduces the dependence on the military ways to resolve the possible disputes between the member countries. There are examples of trade agreements that were initially designed to promote peace and resolve the unsettled issue among the member countries and later moved to economic front to promote trade activities. These includes regional groups like the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) and South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation (SAARC). Next is disadvantages of RTAs. First, negotiation in the RTAs are resource intensive, contrary to the multilateral system of the WTO, which sparks the debate over regionalism versus multilateralism discussed earlier in this document. Second, FTAs also increase the complexity of the international trading system and can raise transaction cost for business through complex trade policies and implementation of rules of original principles. Third, country may lose resources to more efficient members, establishing the trade diversion phenomena. Fourth, firms across the countries may cooperate, thereby forming a collusion and merger leading to greater monopoly power, deviating from the world of perfect competition. Fifth, the framework can result in diseconomies of scale if firms become very large. Sixth, high administrative cost of trading bloc in terms of setting up of rules in an RTA and struggling with its consistency with respect to multilateral framework. Seventh, the removal of trade barriers provides opportunities to the efficient firms to enter the different markets within the region. This endangers the survival of the less efficient firms. Eighth, the resources of production from the firms of the less efficient countries are exploited by the firms from the advanced countries of the region. Ninth, the less developed countries of the regional agreement mostly become consumption centers while the advanced countries of the region become the production centers. 10th, in case of an agreement between developed and developing countries, the less developed countries become poorer, whereas the developed countries of the region become richer, widening the income gaps. 11th, it discourages trade with non-members, as trade with non-members is subject to strict rules and trade barriers, leading to trade diversion effects. And if these trade diversion effects are larger than the trade creation effects created among the member countries, then the regional trade agreement proves to be detrimental for the economic welfare of the member countries. Next is RTAs in India, focusing on the 3 free trade agreements that India is a part of with multiple number of other member countries. South Asian Free Trade (SAFTA), global system of trade preferences, and Asia-Pacific Trade Agreement with an aim to evaluate the impact of India's integration with different regions on its export potential. SAFTA came into force in 2006. The members of the agreement include India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives and Nepal. Afghanistan became the 8th member of the South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation (SAARC) in 2007 and joined SAFTA in 2011. GSTP entered into existence in 1989 and currently includes 44 member countries. Existing members include most of the developing with the exception of China and South Africa, and least developed countries. APTA entered into force in 1976 as the Bangkok Agreement. China joined the already existing member countries in 2002. The member countries of the trade agreement include Bangladesh, China, India, Republic of Korea, that is South Korea, Laos and Sri Lanka. It has been observed that India's export to members of SAFTA, APTA, GSTP forms 1.5%, 2.38% and 1.9% of the total exports in 2012, establishing APTA as the most important group among the three. Focusing on the annual growth of India's export with respect to these trade groups over the period of 2000 to 2012, India exports to SAFTA members declined at the rate of 3.4%, implying weaker trade integration in the South Asian region. However, India's exports surged at the rate of 6.8% and 4.6% to APTA and GSTP members respectively during the study period. This analysis suggests weak strength of integration in the South Asian region, which can be attributed to political tensions in the region's countries and certain country-specific factors like poor quality of infrastructure or institutional quality, taking away the actual level of intra-regional trade away from the potential level. Therefore, efforts should be to improve the infrastructure facilities like transport, communication and regulatory quality in the South Asian countries to strengthen the intra-regional linkages, thereby tapping the trade opportunities across neighboring countries. Now let us summarize. RTAs can complement the multilateral trading system, help to build and strengthen it. However, regional trade agreements pose different challenges to global free trade by discriminating against non-members, gives rise to debate of multilateralism and regionalism. Advantages of RTAs: increased income of member countries, trade creation effects, exchange of technology, economies of scale benefits. Lastly, the disadvantages of RTAs: high transaction cost, administrative cost, trade diversion effects. Thank you.